This is being described as a global IT outage. Airports, banks, media companies like the one I work for at ABC 7 News in San Francisco have all had network disruptions. And these companies impacted not just in the States, but around the globe. Hospital workers across the country tell me their systems were impacted. Hotel workers say the same. 911 systems in certain cities have been impacted. And as I report all of this, it's just after 5 a.m. on the East Coast, just after 2 a.m. on the West Coast. The company CrowdStrike, a U.S. cybersecurity company, has admitted to being responsible for the error and are working to fix it. CrowdStrike is based out of Austin, Texas. The FAA said at one point air traffic controllers had to tell airborne pilots that airlines are currently experiencing communication issues. That is why flights were grounded at one point. American Airlines says this is a problem with CrowdStrike and they are working to resolve the issue as quickly as possible.
You're watching Sky News. Hello, a very good morning. You're watching Sky News. Let's get you up to date with our top stories here today. And a major global IT outage is impacting many of the world's largest companies, including us here at Sky News. The system failure is believed to have been caused by a flawed antivirus update, although nothing has as yet been confirmed.
Here at the BBC, CBBC as well. There you go. The message is clear and simple. Sorry, something's gone wrong. While we fix it, you can go to the BBC iPlayer.
We all know, but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack. To use the COVID-19 crisis as a timely opportunity to reflect on the lessons the cybersecurity community can draw and improve our preparedness for a potential cyber pandemic.
Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And yeah, basically, I just woke up not too long ago, and then I saw this article here, and really I saw some some news clips on it, and it's dealing with this IT outage that recently hit, and it affected a whole lot of things. Now they're saying that this was not a cyber attack or anything of that nature, but rather one of the employees apparently pushed up some update, that ended up affecting all these systems that were running Microsoft Windows. And the main point that I want to focus on in this lesson, is, at least in this lesson, is not necessarily that this situation here is it, and this is what's going to cause, a lot of things to really go down, but rather just how quickly and unexpectedly something like this can happen. And as a matter of fact, just how much damage it can do in such a short time. And as we go through this article, you'll see the different systems, the different avenues, the different sectors of the economy and of people's lives that were affected instantly because of, and this was just for Windows, right? This looked like it was for systems that were running the Windows, Microsoft Windows operating system. So due to apparently some update or some bug, some error somewhere, a lot of these systems were down. We're talking about banks, hospitals, airports, all the markets, financial markets, stock markets, all of these things were affected. And that's because our society is like a jungle of technology. Everything has been just merged in. And so one bug over here or one fire over here and the whole thing is now in trouble. Now, what I'll do is, since I'm recording the video now, what I'll do is maybe after recording, when I'm editing, I'll try to paste a couple of clips in there in the beginning so you can see, number one, what Klaus Schwab mentioned about this cyber, attack, cyberdemic, and then also maybe like a news clip of this event that happened here. So it's going to show you that, if indeed this was something like a cyber attack where they don't just come out and tell you, oh, we've already found some solution and we've deployed it, so don't worry, in a matter of hours or so, everything should be fine. If indeed this was something like that, you'd see just how quickly things can turn around, because with how dependent the world, not just society, because this affected systems across the world, with how dependent the world has become on technology and how interconnected everything has become. Everything is now cloud computing based, right? So, there's a lot of, they strive for consistency, and availability, but at the same time, it's not perfect. And the longer these systems stay down, the more detrimental it is, right? So imagine, just like they were able to cripple the world with the whole, demic that happened not too long ago, imagine how much more crippling, because during the Rona, people were home, but people had access to their TVs, had access to their phones, they had internet access, they were getting stimulus packages, things were still there. They just really couldn't go outside, and, it was on that front. But imagine all the technological things you use, which, like I've said before, is not limited to the things you use for leisure, or things like just your phone or your laptop or your TV. We're talking about things that the services that you use are built upon. When you go to the hospital nowadays, how often do you go to the hospital and then they come out with a file and then they're looking through and saying, oh, okay, let's pull out this sheet from when you were here, 2008. And let's look at what you had. No, they go on the computer. There's some database that your information is in, and then they click a few, tap, few clicks, and then they pull up your information. First name, last name. Oh, right, got you. And the last time you were here was click. Then they ask you questions, they enter that information, right? So everything is on the computer. Hospitals, banks, everything is digitalized because it's more convenient, right? You can get a lot more done. But at the same time, you run this big risk of, an example is what you just saw here. So enough of that. Let me read a little bit here as to what was some of the damage that happened with this, right? So it says largest IT outage in history sparks disruptions worldwide. And one thing I also want to mention is, like, I woke up, right? When I woke up, that's when I found out about this. Similar to the movie Leave the World Behind, you have basically you can go to sleep one night and wake up the next and everything is different. And initially people wouldn't really realize, right, that something like this was going down if their services were down. They'd probably think maybe there's something wrong with their phone. And then they go and check their laptop and it's the same thing. So then they'll probably think there's something wrong with their Wi-Fi. But then after a while, they realize that's not the case. And maybe if they can't make phone calls, then they might realize, okay, maybe something is going on. So maybe they might, if they get desperate enough, they might ask their neighbor, hey, is your services okay? Their neighbor might say, no, mine is down too. So they might think maybe there's an outage in their area. By the time they realize that this is like a global cyber attack or something like that, that is very, very bad, there's a lot of damage that's been done. And then panic starts to set in. Anyway, early Friday, a global IT outage caused by an issue with cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike disrupted flights, banks, retailers, stock exchanges, 911 call centers, and media outlets. And you see how each of these is like a subsection of its own, like an umbrella of problems that can come with, right? If you disrupt flights, right? Okay, you're wondering, well, a plane is flying from one area to another. What's the big deal? Guess what? When you look into the cockpit of a plane, you see a lot of lights, right? See a lot of buttons. They got radar systems. They got communication systems. That means they have an operating system that's controlling all of that. Because a plane is made of hardware and software. So there's an operating system in there that's really controlling all these things and making it easier. So when you just press a button, the system knows what to do. If that operating system is running on a software that's affected by this, Windows, guess what? You got a problem on your hands, right? Because when your system comes on, your operating system is the first thing that loads. And if it can't load because of an update that you downloaded last night, and so now there's a problem, then your joint ain't working. So, I mean, who knows, right? Hypothetically, maybe you're already in the air and then your shit goes down. Ain't that a son of a, So you got potential dangers, right? Like once again in the movie Leave the World Behind, where a plane just fell out the sky. That's a very dangerous thing, right? And they try to use like things like redundancy. They replicate the same system like 4 times inside of a plane. But guess what? If they all run on the same, thing and they're all affected by the same problem, then it doesn't really matter. So if you got like something like that, that can be really bad, right? Disrupted flights, it's hard for you to even get on a plane. Imagine you got to go somewhere, whatever the case is. If you're in a different country, your family's in a different country, you went on a business trip or something, and then you hear about this, immediately you're going to want to go back. But now you can't. Banks, your money, your funds, companies, everybody uses banks today. Okay. And banks are constantly working. They're constantly trying to make money. They're constantly loaning. They're constantly, doing all of these things. So guess what? They're affected too. You're at the store, just when you tap your credit card or your debit card at the PIN pad thing, then it's not working. Oh, what's going on? Why is it not going through? It says it can't read, insufficient funds. It's not connecting to your bank, because when you tap your card on that PIN pad, it connects to your bank. There's a transaction that happens there to authorize, oh, okay, should we actually, let this go through? And then let's call some services, and then let's update your balance, and then let's see if you have enough to pay for this. All of that stuff. It's not happening. Your bank is down. Because your bank has computers that it uses, right? So if those computers are down, whatever transaction you can make can't go through. Then you have retailers, stock exchanges. These are things that daily people are using. They work daily, right? But now they're down. They can't work. 911 call centers. So if you have an emergency, you're trying to reach them, guess what? Our systems are down. Maybe you can reach them. Maybe the phone line works, but you realize that when you reach them and you tell them, hey, I'm at, I don't know, 916 Bone Street. How do you think they're gonna find 916 Bone Street? What do you think all that clicking sound in the background is when you call a 911 operator? And then they ask you a few questions. They're recording all the stuff going on. If they have to look up certain things, they got to track certain things. Everything is based on technology. And if there's a major outage, you're screwed. Same with media outlets and so on and so forth. Okay, so as it says here, experts say this could be one of the largest IT outages in modern history. And at the end of the day, all these are for data collection, right? Simulations. You can see how much trouble is caused by this. How are people reacting when a situation like this happens? It's just like anything you do. When you come up with something new, whether it's a physical invention or some idea, you always test it out. That's where the experiments come in. You test it out, you see the results. Is it what you expect? Is it not what you expect? Maybe you tweak it a little bit, test it again, maybe on a certain sample of people, then on a bigger sample, and then eventually you're like, all right, this is good. I can use this. Well, think of your lives and you as the test subjects, and these scenarios are the weapons that they're trying to test, the silent weapons for quiet wars. So Bloomberg reported that CrowdStrike warned customers that its Falcon sensor threat monitoring product was the source of the chaos, causing Microsoft Windows operating system to crash. There was no mention of what triggered the issue, and there were reports of disruptions in Microsoft's Azure, Cloud, and 365 Office software. We're aware of an issue affecting Windows devices due to an update from a third-party software platform, Microsoft said in a statement, adding, "We anticipate a resolution is forthcoming." And like I said, yeah, they're saying that this is just, like an issue and an update. I mean, had this been some hackers that decided, here's the thing about hacking too, right? Hacking is not just sitting behind a computer and then tap, 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 tap away. Yeah, that's a part of it, but there's something called social engineering, where you have hackers that know how to manipulate people, how to talk to people, how to break into buildings, how to do all these things and get more information that they can then use behind a computer to do some damage. So you could have hackers that are, native to this land, but you could also have hackers that are from foreign countries that are agents that can make their way with their, studying hard and all that, bypass any security and end up working at one of these companies as the one employee who, he's doing really well. He's doing really well. So now he's put in charge and more responsibility, take care of these systems. And then one day he, quote unquote, accidentally uploads something, bang. He finds a way to bypass the eyes of because whenever you upload some code, people got to review it and then they approve it. So he finds a way to hide some malicious stuff in there where you can't bypass it, or you can't catch it, and then boom, it's uploaded. And next thing you know, there's some shit going down. These are just examples, but it's going to show you just how easily something so disruptive can take place. Let me see what else is here. Is there something super weird happening right now? Just been called by several totally different media outlets in the last few minutes, all with Windows machines suddenly BSODing, blue screen of death. Anyone else seeing this? Seems to be entering recovery mode. Also here in Philippines, same thing. Alan Woodward, professor of cybersecurity at Surrey University, told Bloomberg, this global outage is unprecedented and warned the economic impact will be huge. Australian web security consultant Troy Hunt wrote on X, I don't think it's too early to call it. This will be the largest IT outage in history. So let's say, this lasts for a couple of hours. A lot of damage. Imagine a couple of days or weeks. Following the news, Microsoft shares slid 2% in pre-market trading. Meanwhile, CrowdStrike tumbled as much as 14%. Sheesh. They must be really looking for that employee. Oh man. CrowdStrike CEO George Kurtz posted on X that the company is actively working with customers impacted by a defect found in a single content update for Windows hosts. Mac and Linux hosts are not impacted. Yeah, and those defects, those vulnerable parts are what, bad actors look for to exploit, and to turn into something else. So who knows? They might already be looking into something like this. If they weren't already aware. This is not a security incident or cyber attack. The issue has been identified, isolated, and a fix has been deployed, Kurtz said. He added, now, what's interesting about these kinds of situations is when certain bugs, right, get spread, through a cyber attack on different devices, really the cause is because whoever's working on the software, some company, right, some engineers, they do these updates, right, and these updates have like patches. So if there's some errors here or stuff like that, they patch it, and then when you download it on your phone or your computer, now you get the new update. But the problem is, in doing so, they're not perfect. So there are going to be certain parts that they miss or they didn't think about. And then that's where you have those hackers that can now look at this code and find those little parts that they can break in through and then, start causing trouble. Now, in situations like this, when you have something like this that happens and the CEO puts out a statement like actively working with customers impacted, they're, as it says, they've identified the issue, a fix has been deployed. Do you think they're taking their time while doing this? Them engineers over there must be under high heat. They must be getting their ass cooked under high heat. Okay, like a BJ's rotisserie chicken. So when you're under high heat and you're you getting cooked like that, and you gotta put up this thing quick, now you're more prone to miss something. Okay, or you're more prone in this new fix that you put up to maybe have some other vulnerability in there that then people who are looking can go and take a look and say, oh, look, you were so quick to, so in such a hurry to do this that you missed this or you missed that. And in trying to fix one thing, you open the door for another. He added, we further recommend organizations ensure they're communicating with CrowdStrike representatives through official channels. Our team is fully mobilized to ensure the security and stability of CrowdStrike customers. And you got a lot of people that are saying, look, all these flights, right? More specifically in the US, the FAA said the airlines United, American, Delta, and Allegiant had all been grounded. Yeah, so you can see all of these. Says, whoops, some JP Morgan employees unable to log on amid global outages. And that's the thing, right? Like when you deal with like some of the markets and stuff, missing a few minutes can be can be as big as night and day. Especially missing it because of something like this. Because remember, it's not all systems, but just Windows. Let's see what's going on here. Bloomberg provides more color on the individual companies suffering from the global IT outage. On Friday, McDonald's Corp., United Airlines Holding, and the LSE Group were among the major companies to disclose a variety of issues with communications to customer service. KLM said it was suspending most flights because of a global computer outage. They were among the more prominent global corporations to report issues with their operations. Yep, massive IT outage. What else you got? Yeah, you got people complaining about it. The UK Debt Management Office said tenders for Friday's Treasury bill auction will now close at a later time of 2:30 p.m. because of ongoing technical issues affecting financial markets, and so on and so forth. So today, it may be just an error that they're saying. Tomorrow, it may be something worse. Anyway, what I want to get is this. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3. For when they shall say peace and safety, and here's the main part I want to focus on, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. That's sudden, that's the key part right there. Suddenly, you wake up one day, boom. Because it happens fast. Information, bugs, things on computers, they travel very fast. So before you know it, this is affected, this is affected, this is affected. Now the whole world is affected. Like I said, today, it might have just been a test run. Today, it might have just been some accident. But tomorrow, if it's actually deliberate, at least you see a sample of just how much damage can be caused. And just how much reliance, and dependency the world has on these different technological services. So when you got people like Klaus Schwab talking about a cyberdemic, that can do this, that, and the third, well, keep that in mind. This is Proverbs 24, and I'm going to start at 19. It says, fret not thyself because of evil men, neither be thou envious at the wicked. For there shall be no reward to the evil man. The candle of the wicked shall be put out. My son, fear thou the Lord Yahweh and the king, and meddle not with them that are given to change. For their calamity shall rise suddenly, and who knoweth the ruin of them both? And ultimately, the wicked is Esau, Edom, right? But the interesting thing about it is his calamity is also your calamity, because his calamity is the downfall of his kingdom. But guess what? You're living in it, and a lot of people have been conformed to this world. So when it goes down, they're not ready to separate themselves, and a lot of them are going to go down with it in a very painful way. Anyway, Lord willing, this was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rechak Kodesh. And till next time, Shalom.